That's the model I think in 10 years from now, I'm hoping advisors use, because I really do believe that's truly the best model for the client.
Welcome to the Personal Financial CEO Podcast, where we discuss personal finance and financial-based strategies to help you live your best life.
I'm Steve Boorstein, and I am a financial planner at Rockcrest Financial in Somers Point, New Jersey. I'm joined here today by my son, Aiden, who's also a financial planner with us. And today, Aiden, what's the topic that we're going to talk about?
We're going to talk about different ways you pay an advisor.
Good topic. We get that question a lot in the practice, right? There's a bunch of different ways that advisors charge.
Yeah, so there's four main ways that we're going to talk about today, and let's start with commission.
All right, great. So commissions are kind of the old model, right? So here, generally, it's a broker-dealer or an insurance agent, and the commissions are upfront costs that you pay. Sometimes they're hidden into the price of the product, where sometimes you'll see them taken out of the purchase that you've made. So there's potential conflicts of interest. And so what would be one that you could think of?
Obviously, it could be trading too much in an account.
Yep.
That would be a conflict of interest because that's going to drive up the price that you pay.
Yeah. So the incentive for the advisor who makes a commission is that they're going to keep making you have transactions, because the only way they get paid is through the commission. But again, for someone who doesn't need a lot of advice, who isn't investing a lot of money and plans on holding that investment long term, commissions still may, in some cases, make sense. So what would be another method?
So this gets into the fiduciary models, and I think we should start with hourly.
So hourly would be like a limited scope project that you're paying somebody for, right? What were the average of an hourly?
You see anywhere from like $200 to $400 an hour.
So someone who's trying to get out of college debt.
Not really continuing on past the plan.
That's a good point. So that would be the type of project that might be good for an hourly fee. What are some of the pros on it?
So the pros would be transparency of it. You know what they're charging per hour.
Right.
It's flexible. So, hopefully if the advisor works as quick as they can, you're paying less money.
Yep.
It's good, like you said, for small projects like the one-time financial plan.
And so the cons on this would be like what?
Well, on the other side of it being possibly cheaper, it can be more expensive if it's a bigger project and the advisor needs to work longer on it.
Yep.
And then scope creep. You were telling me a little bit about this. Why don't you explain that?
So yeah, scope creep is basically you've looked for a limited scope project with an advisor, like to get out of debt, and the advisor takes a little bit longer with the project, or kind of expands the scope of the project so that he has more billable hours.
So then we move on to a more common type, and that's assets under management.
That's been the predominant model for probably about 20 years. And so how would you explain assets under management?
Usually it's about a 1% fee of a portfolio. So you put in a certain amount of assets with an advisor, and they'll charge 1%. Usually they'll take it right out of the account.
That 1% is not a hard and fast number. So generally you see 1% at around the $1 million mark, but below $1 million, it may run up to 1.5%. I've even seen 2% sometimes. And then above 2 or 3 million, that price might start to come down. But they're getting paid for specifically the amount of assets. As your portfolio goes up, you pay more. The same thing happens when you pay an advisor based off of your net worth or based off your income. Hopefully your income and your net worth go up over time, but that also means you're going to be paying your advisor more based off.
And this would be a good fee for a small portfolio specifically because, you go somewhere else, maybe where they're offering a flat fee or an hourly fee. With the assets under management, it's, let's say, just keep it a flat number, 1%, and you're only paying that on 100,000. You're not going to be paying as much as a person that comes in with $1 million account.
So the AUM model may make sense for smaller portfolios that don't need a lot of planning, because remember, the advisor's charging based off the assets under management. They generally don't have an obligation to provide full comprehensive financial planning. They may have to do a retirement plan or something like that, but generally they're not providing a full comprehensive financial planning. But it's appropriate for clients that maybe don't need a lot of financial planning ongoing and not yet a significant amount of assets and don't meet the advisor's flat fee model.
Yeah, so really just small portfolios or somebody who doesn't really need extensive work into their financial situation.
Yeah, because at the end, we're going to give an example of a flat fee versus a AUM fee for the same client. So we're about halfway through this episode. If you like the content, we appreciate it if you subscribe and like the episode. And if you have any comments throughout any of this episode, please put it in the comments section below and we'll do our best to respond.
So then let's get into flat fee. This is a fairly new, and this is what we offer at our firm. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so kind of the growing way that we're charging clients is what I think is really the most fiduciary responsible, which is the flat fee model. So I'm going to give you an example. Under a comprehensive flat fee, we provide financial planning that includes a written financial plan. We provide tax strategy, which includes working with our accountant to make sure they have the proper tax strategy to make the plan work. We provide estate planning strategy along with our estate planning attorney. We provide investment management. So whether their assets are managed by us directly over a broker dealer or whether they have the assets in their 401k or their TSP or wherever their assets are, we'll manage those assets and never need to even have the client transfer those assets to us if they don't want to, unlike the AUM fee that we just talked about. And then we also do a comprehensive risk review for the client. So we look at all their insurance policies, whether it's their property, casualty, home, auto, life insurance. We review it. And then we use their experts, like their insurance agents, in order to make sure that they're getting the proper coverage and they're paying not too much for the policies. So that's one fee that we charge, but we provide all of those services continually throughout the year. So compared to an hourly fee, where it would probably cost them much more for us to do that on an hourly basis. And compared to an AUM fee, which we do all these services each year, but as their assets grow and as their income grows and as their net worth grows, our fee doesn't really change. That's the model. I think in 10 years from now, I'm hoping advisors use, because I really do believe that's truly the best model for the client.
So you're getting a comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
So it's much better for people who are looking to delegate all those services to somebody and get that comprehensive financial planning that a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, and that's true. So it has to be a client that wants a personal financial CEO, which is the service that we offer, and wants to delegate a lot of all those financial things that need to be done to a trusted advisor that's going to do that. For a lot of clients, the cost is less than what they would pay hourly or even what they would pay AUM wise, because that's that one example that we're going to talk about at the end, right? So even though we think that it's one of the best models, and I think that it provides a reduced conflict of interest because we're charging one fee, there's no incentive for us to act one way or another except on the best behalf of the clients, right? The one thing that some clients have to get used to is the fact that we're very transparent. So in an AUM model, the assets always come out of the accounts, and most clients don't look at their monthly or their quarterly statements. So they really never gauge how much they're paying. On a commission model, clients often don't know the commission because it's hidden within the product. But under the comprehensive flat fee model, the client seeing that fee is kind of a new concept. So even though it could be significantly cheaper than the other models.
Yeah, it also makes it very predictable, knowing that one flat fee. You know, that's a benefit of the model. It's sometimes people just like to know how much they have to pay out each month versus a always changing AUM fee.
Yeah, that's true. And clients under this model also have the choice. So if we're managing enough assets, it can come out of the account. And if not, they can pay it directly. Now, there's some tax benefits sometimes of it coming out of a retirement account. But the other end of it is if you think about it, what's the best performing account that you generally have? Is it your investment accounts or is it your bank account?
Investment accounts.
Investment accounts, right? So why would you want a fee coming out of the highest performing accounts that you have, the fastest growing accounts, instead of your bank account that's making, 0.1%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it gives a client's choice. That transparency gives clients choice.
So let's jump into that AUM flat fee kind of versus that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Now you run this great scenario. So we took what? We took client that has $1 million.
It was $1 million. So both accounts, it's going to be AUM versus flat fee. Let's say we start with $1 million in both accounts. We're assuming that they're both going to grow at 7% each year. For the AUM, it's going to be a 1% fee that's charged. And for the flat fee, we're starting out at $10,000 fee. And this is over the course of 20 years.
So we have two models. We're looking at assets under management fee versus a flat fee of $10,000 per year. So the asset under management fee, just to make everything fair, the first year on $1 million in each account, 1% asset under management is $10,000 deducted from the account. And the flat fee, of course, is $10,000 deducted from the account. In both these cases, the money is getting deducted from the account.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first year, for example, we have $1 million growing at 7%, which is $1,070,000 at the end of the year. But under the AUM model, we're paying the advisor 1%. So that's $10,000. So they come out with $1,060,000. Now under the flat fee model, $1 million also grows at 7%. So they have $1,070,000 at the end of the year. We subtract the $10,000 flat fee, and they also have $1,060,000. So let's fast forward 20 years, right? Now at the end of 20 years, how much did the client pay the assets under management advisor?
After 20 years, they ended up paying $367,000.
Okay. And then how much did they pay the flat fee advisor?
$200,000.
So what was the difference in value?
It would be $167,000.
Yeah, that's pretty large, right?
Yeah.
And what did that mean for the portfolio? What was the difference over 20 years in the growth of the portfolio?
So for the AUM, they ended up with about $3.2 million, and flat fee was $3.4 million. So it ends up being like a $250,000 difference.
So basically, they pay the advisor $167,000 less over 20 years and wound up with $252,000 more. So more than the difference, right? Because of the compounding of the assets. So we hope you like this episode. Please put any comments in the comments section. Please like and subscribe if you found value in this episode. And if you'd like to find out more about comprehensive flat fee program where you have an advisor as your personal financial CEO, please click the link that we have in the description and we'd be more than happy to discuss it. So I'm Steve Boorstein.
I'm Aiden Boorstein.
And thank you for watching the Personal Financial CEO Podcast.